Champlain room test, 1, 2, 3. E-scribe test, 1, 2, 3. Eric, can you please do a sound check?
Sound check, although note that I don't have headset on.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if I can ask everyone to take their seats. We're having way too much fun at this committee. All right. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Thursday, March 28th Transportation Committee. We acknowledge that we're located on the unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. The cultures and presence have been nurtured and continue to nurture this land. At this point, I'll ask our committee coordinator to do roll call, please.
Councillor Bradley? Here. Councillor DeRuse?
Here.
Councillor Desroches?
Présent.
Councillor Devine?
Here.
Councillor Dudas?
I'm here.
Councillor Johnson?
Here.
I'm sorry, Councillor Gower?
Here.
Councillor Lowe?
Here.
Councillor Luloff?
Present.
Councillor Troster? Vice Chair Kitts?
Here.
And Chair Tierney.
Here. Thank you very much, coordinator. So just before I slip into the agenda clearing component, I just want to say, first of all, thanks to Councillor DeRuse. This is your first IRL in real life transportation committee. You look better in person. That's great. I also did want to point out that I know a few of our colleagues had to jog back from the Shaw Center today. Big wins as transportation chair and as vice chair of transportation. We're quite happy, obviously, to see two main things in the south end of the city, which I know Barnsdale Road affects even Councillor DeRuse, and most specifically the upload of the 174, which is great news for the East End councillors. I see Luloff, I see Dudas cheering away there. So that's great news. So I just want to add those 2 cents. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more detail to come, but it's a big win for transportation in the city today. So first of all, we have declarations of interest, seeing none. A confirmation of minutes 10, Tuesday, the 22nd of February, 2024. Are those minutes carried? Thank you. We do have response to inquiries. No one we're looking to lift any of the response to inquiries. Seeing none. We have no in-camera items for today. Information previously distributed. You can see 6162. It's a delegated authority for the 2023 by Department of Planning, Real Estate and Economic Development. Exciting stuff. And Planning, Real Estate and Economic Development Department 2023 Delegated Authority Report. Motions which have been previously given, that item has now been withdrawn. So thank you. Is that correct?
People freaked out that was parking near the hospital.
Oh, yeah. I'm just getting on to that. I'm getting on. I know. So I know you want me to go quicker. We have Councillor Lowe's curbside weeds. We don't have any delegations to speak to that item, no presentations. So is that item carried?
Carried.
Great. Congratulations, Councillor Lowe. Notices of motion for Councillor Gower on behalf of Councillor Leeper. Councillor Gower.
Thank you. Whereas a portion of the Wellington Street West right-of-way between Garland Street and Hilda Street fronts on the existing Somerset Square Park, and whereas the site plan control approval for the properties located at 961 to 979 Wellington Street West and 26 to 40 Armstrong Street indicate in a landscape plan that the Wellington Street West right-of-way between Hilda and Garland is to be regraded and repaved at the developer's own cost, along with other improvements per an approved landscape plan for the site. And whereas the owners of the properties are subject to the fees outlined in encroachment bylaw 2003-446 in order to stage construction equipment in the Wellington Street right-of-way for the duration of construction, and whereas the subject fees are estimated to result in up to $550,000 of operational revenue, and whereas the Wellington Street West Community Design Plan vision, objectives, and policies underscore the protection and uniqueness of Somerset Square Park as a public space in the community, and whereas the developer is providing $250,000 in funds towards the improvement of Somerset Square through a Section 37 agreement, And whereas subsequent to the approval of the planning application, it has been determined that the interaction of the streetscaping in front of the development and Somerset Square should be reviewed more holistically to determine in consultation with the community and the BIA if there is a greater placemaking opportunity. And whereas this additional design work and any potential project implementation costs is an unfunded proposition, and whereas the estimated $550,000 of operational revenue may be considered for reallocation to fund improvements to the right-of-way, subject to council approval. Therefore, be it resolved that all temporary construction encroachment fees collected in association with the development, estimated to be $550,000, be directed to a deferred revenue account along with the Section 37 funds to fund the design and implementation of enhanced public realm improvements in and around Somerset Square. And therefore, be it further resolved that once sufficient revenue from temporary construction encroachment fees and Section 37 funds has been received to commence the project, a new internal account will be set up for the design and implementation of enhanced public realm improvements in and around Somerset Square, with funding from the temporary construction encroachment fees to be limited to expenditures on lands within the right-of-way. And therefore, be it further resolved that at the conclusion of these works, any residual temporary construction encroachment revenue in the internal order be returned to Planning, Real Estate, and Economic Development Department General Revenues. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gower, for Councillor Leeper chewing up 3.5 minutes of time. We'll deal with that next meeting. And I know Councillor Bradley has a great inquiry. So inquiries, Councillor Bradley.
Thank you very much, Chair. It can be difficult for people with disabilities to find on-street parking spaces that are accessible due to considerations such as adjacent traffic, curb ramps, depressed curbs, sidewalks, space constraints, proximity to nearby accessible entry points, and proximity to reserved use lanes for cycling and transit. The accessible parking permit entitles holders to special parking privileges, including reserved off-street parking spaces and exemptions for on-street parking. However, ongoing construction and public spaces redesign and renewal has decreased both the number and availability of on-street parking spaces and APP privileged spaces. The loss of these parking spaces over time has created a significant barrier to the fair and equal participation of people with disabilities in our city. In 2019, the Accessibility Advisory Committee put forward a motion requesting that the City of Ottawa adopt formal policies and practices that will promote and protect the availability of accessible on-street parking supply. Feedback from the AAC and the community has repeatedly demonstrated clear concerns surrounding the need for demarcated APP holder-only on-street parking spaces to address this issue. So the question is, have staff looked into the possibility of expanding the APP on-street parking privileges to include the creation of these reserved accessible on-street parking spaces?
Thank you, Councillor Bradley. They'll respond to that inquiry. Number 10, other business, seeing as there's none. Adjournment, the next meeting will be April 25th, 2024, and that is 7 minutes, and 3.5 minutes were chewed up by Councillor Leeper's motion. So thank you everyone for coming out today.